Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be presenting some of my user research findings for using the phone while eating. Sometimes I find myself sitting at the hub alone, and I like to scroll through my phone while finishing up a sandwich. I find it really annoying and frustrating, but I still do it anyway. And I see others doing the same thing, but I wonder if they run into the same problems I face. In order to dig deeper, I want to really investigate what are the motives, attitudes, and immediate consequences behind eating and using the phone. I want to be able to learn from other people beyond my own experiences. Do people mind using their phones even if it seems troublesome? What are some of the actual issues they run into? The participants I gathered in the field study interviews and survey were regular smartphone users who happened to be mostly college students within the ages of 19 to 23. In the field study, I used the deep hanging out method to blend into the environment and observe some of the behavioral patterns of people using the phone and eating, as well as understand the different settings that encourage this activity. In the interviews, I wanted to understand the general attitudes and gain a deeper understanding of the phone activities that I was not able to properly observe during the field observations. This was because the deep hanging out method involved me not interacting with the research subjects at all, in order to observe people's habits in a natural manner. In the surveys, I wanted to understand overall attitudes, behavioral patterns, and consequences of eating and using the phone from a larger population. Understanding these from a larger population can help me think of suitable designs that can cater to many who face similar issues. The field study involved 30-minute observations of three different places on campus, such as the Hub, Local Point, and Oren's Place. Observation notes were then coded, followed by affinity diagramming in order to investigate the patterns. Interviews were audio recorded, transcribed, and coded the same way as my field study observations, again in order to find patterns within attitudes and motives of participants. In the online survey, I gathered answers of 28 people. That data was then used to create graphs to see any significant trends and relationships of eating and using the phone. For the free response question in the survey, I've coded all answers the same way as I did with the observation and interview notes. For my key findings, there were three themes that really stood out. In terms of attitude, I found that research participants are aware that the two should not be done together, but still find themselves doing it anyway. In terms of motive, scrolling through social media was the most preferred phone activity while eating. And in terms of consequences, most people didn't feel that they've been negatively impacted nor positively impacted. In other words, people felt pretty neutral about using the phone and eating. There's somewhat positive correlation between the likeliness of someone using the phone and the importance of using the phone while eating. Generally, if people thought using the phone is important while eating, they're more likely to do so. As you can see, even in the free responses, most people admit that it's an issue, but they still feel the need to do it. Generally, participants say that eating and using the phone shouldn't be done together and have some sort of intention of not doing so, but they still admit to doing it. What motivates participants to use their phones is social media. In the survey, the majority of participants chose boredom as a major reason to accessing their phones while eating. Of those who chose boredom, I found that most of them gravitated towards using social media while eating. Other than survey results, all interview participants mentioned Snapchat and Facebook at least once when they discussed some of their habits while eating and using the phone. Participants also felt neutral about eating and using the phone. To really see that consequences, I compared participants' troublesome rating of phone use while eating and their likeliness to finish food. It turns out that there is no correlation between the two. Now, what do these findings mean? First of all, it's clear that participants will engage in eating and phone use even though they think they shouldn't, which means many of them don't really have self control. This is largely due to the presence of social media, which motivates their phone use while eating. Lastly, eating efficiency just depends from person to person. Some people may find it really easy to multitask, and some people may not find it too easy. This explains why there is no correlation between troublesome rating and likelihood of finishing food. Knowing that people have no self control, I've come up with an idea of a self control app. Users can set what times they will be eating so that social media is turned off. There will also be warning notifications on how much time a person has spent on a specific social media app. This encourages a conscious effort of not multitasking and perhaps reduce social media dependency or addiction. Also, because people will be using their phones anyway, in any case they still want to use social media, I've decided I've designed single seaters with phone stands. Since people who sit alone are more likely to pull out their phones, according to survey data, single seaters with phone stands make sense. That way, people can eat more efficiently with both hands and not have to hold their phones. Because I found that social media was a largely preferred activity while eating, I wonder if people use social media within other activities besides eating. There's definitely something worth researching more about in order to see different impacts social media has on our day to day activities. Many of the participants also felt that it was a problem they'd want to fix. Perhaps it's worth doing more research about overcoming multitasking and what can be done to prevent it. I was pretty satisfied with the results I got from this research because I was able to see the general attitudes and motives towards eating and using the phone that were different from mine. The field study and interviews in particular also went pretty smoothly. I also now really understand how much social media has become such a large part of our lives just by conducting this research and looking at the survey statistics. If I were to improve a couple things, I would say that properly deciding what I want to find out should be helpful before creating the survey questions. Then, taking into consideration the type of food the person is eating and how efficient he or she can finish it while using the phone. What would help me create better survey questions would be to also do more background research in multitasking, specifically using the phone and eating. But overall, I was really surprised that I wasn't the only person with bad self control. A lot of us have a problem with it, and this research definitely helped me much more aware of my own habits. Thank you very much.